Bulletcast for life.
Doggy Charles.
Yeah. Let's go. Yeah. The microphone messiah. Yeah. It's the microphone messiah. And Mr. No Days Off. Microphone messiah. Mr. No Days Off. Phil, Brandon, what's good, y'all? Let's go. Bulletcast host. Look, this is the time for us to be great on podcasts. Let you know this is the time and how the vibe lasts. This is the feeling of time and when we on it. You know we got no time for no opponent, just the feeling. This is the time of the greats on everything that we say. You know we about getting paid.
Yo, what's going on, ladies and gentlemen? You know the name, you know the voice, you know exactly why I'm here, just in case if you don't. I am a 29-year-old piece of gold on the side of the microphone, Phillip Antoine, joined by the Canadian Destroyer, BT Brandon Tanguma. What's going on, man?
What up, everyone? Another episode, another week closer to WrestleMania. We're going to talk all about the happenings.
Yes, I've put down some money on a stay. As you know, Oasis Pro will be out there WrestleMania weekend, so I will be out there too. Third WrestleMania weekend, first time going to be in the ring for it. Hello. Excited, honored, ready to get to the grind. But nonetheless, let's get into the week that was professional wrestling. In a recent interview, John Cena announced that he had skin cancer. He had two cancerous particles of skin removed from his body. And he talked about just how, enjoy every day.
Yeah, T's and P's. I didn't know this was a thing, just learning it right now. But, skin cancer, it can, obviously it's a serious situation, but if you can catch it early enough, you just, as you said, get it removed, and it should be all fine and dandy.
Absolutely. I guess we can get right into SmackDown. The contract signing happens. Roman Reigns is out there asking them, to acknowledge your tribal chief. Then Seth Rollins comes out there. No freaking. The freaking is gone. No more freaking.
Thank God.
What you did? You weren't a fan of Seth freaking Rollins?
No. Once again, just another level, another aspect of the Seth Rollins character I'm not the big fan of.
But he was Seth freaking Rollins. He was good.
Once again, just call him Seth Rollins because we can't say the actual word that they're trying to allude to. That middle word being
what they wanted to allude to freaking, so they said it. It wasn't even an allude. It was they just flat out said it.
Well, at least Rob Van Dam isn't a little scaredy cat. And he's Rob fucking Van Dam the whole fucking show. You know what I'm saying?
Well, geez, I mean, they never said that on television.
Well, I mean,
even in TNA,
is TNA
even the whole effing show.
He almost had it, and then yeah, almost. Yeah.
Seth Rollins is out there, and he's talking about how the history they have in the O2 power bombing the Undertaker a number of years ago. That was like one of Taker's last like regular televised matches too, like on some random weekly television. Talks about, we had a mission. We built this from the ground up, and you could have ended this guy a long time ago. Talking about CM Punk, who is a cancer. Seth Rollins feels that Punk isn't just a cancer to WWE in their locker room, but to the business as a whole. And Roman's talking about, you didn't. We didn't help do this. I did this. I built this. Obviously talking about all the work he did. Talk about, the $1 billion deals he's helped get. Talk about he's the reason why they're desirable to Netflix. What did you think about the back and forth between Seth and Roman before Punk makes his way out?
I thought it was solid. With all three parties involved, Seth definitely is kind of an afterthought and is like, the third out of the three. So it's smart to kind of have him do it one-on-one instead of all three. Because when it's all three, I think Roman, Punk, and Paul Heyman are just kind of going to eat up all the airtime. So it's smart. It's smart for Seth and, either Seth and Roman to be one-on-one or Seth and Punk to be one-on-one. Because when it's all three, I think Punk gets Seth gets lost in the mix.
I do want to see more of Punk and Roman one-on-one. Seth, I mean, I don't want to say Seth is an afterthought because they're just the way all this is intertwined. I mean, last year, like Seth sacrificed his body to make sure Roman Reigns lost the title for the betterment of the company. Now, I mean, well, we're going to get to it in the contract signing, but once it's revealed where this match is going to be, like Seth is so upset about it that Like that's this true level of hatred for CM Punk. Now he's going to sacrifice whatever he can to make sure that Punk is not just gone from WWE but out of the business as a whole. Um, and then CM Punk comes out there. It does. I'm here for two reasons: to chew bubblegum and sign a contract. I'm all out of bubblegum. Goes right to the contract and he's looking for it before he signs. Roman's like, page 4, clause 5, etc. Paul Heyman's like, I know what you're looking for. It's in there. You're going to main event WrestleMania. You get to live your dream and main event WrestleMania. So, with that being said, I assume this is going to be the night one main event. CM Punk gets his first ever WrestleMania main event. Rollins gets his third. Roman Reigns gets his record 10th WrestleMania main event. This will be the 6th in a row, I believe, for the Tribal Chief. What are your thoughts on this going on last?
So the decision, just in a vacuum for it to go on last, is interesting. I thought, Jay and Gunther, especially, I felt like I'd not say it was like a slam dunk that it was going to be the main event, but I had a strong inkling that it was going to be the main event. And obviously, they're going with the triple threat match instead. From the Punk side of it, I would love to see like if I could just give him like a truth serum Pepsi and just see exactly how he feels about this. Because if you check the tape, people are bringing up what he said to MJF in AEW a couple years ago about him being the main event night one non-title of WrestleMania. And if you were to ask 2013 CM Punk, 2012 CM Punk, I'm pretty sure he would have wanted to be in the WWE Championship on, if there was two nights, he would have wanted to be a Sunday, championship main event.
Well, I know people are getting all up in arms about stuff like that. Listen, it's the last match on that day of WrestleMania. It is the main event, so therefore you get to say you main evented WrestleMania. Um, I mean, Punk was a different guy when he was saying, or even though it was a few years ago, still a different guy than he is now. Obviously, I mean, you saw the tears. I believe those are real tears. Uh, that the Second City Saint was crying. But a lot of things happened in this, man. I mean, like I said, Seth Rollins is he gets the main event WrestleMania again. That's what you live for. That's what you do this for. He hates that because Punk is in it. And Roman, this was the most like old Roman Reigns he's been since he's been back. Am I right?
Yeah, I mean, he was flexing his muscles about, how important he is to the company. I do wonder, why he was doing that. Like, I'm not saying like he shouldn't be doing that. I'm just saying like, there's been a lot of talk of like Cody being the reason on television with Randy Orton in the segment they had earlier, and
Y'all got to remember.
John Cena talking about stuff, The Rock talking about stuff, and like I think Roman like currently is like underrated on how important he is to the boom period because everyone's going to talk about Cody because he's a champion right now, but like Roman
Oh no, we know. We know.
Roman like is kind of the reason we're in the boom period we are. And like, no disrespect to Cody, he kind of came in and we talk about the endings and stuff. He came in like the eighth or seventh or eighth inning and closed it out. But Roman is the reason why we are where we are right now in WWE.
Well, absolutely. I mean, he said it, $1 billion deals desirable to Netflix, Um, so big that the developmental brand has a massive TV deal with the CW, just Roman is the constant here. But yeah, man, I mean, this is the most he's felt like old Roman Reigns in quite some time, and I find that very intriguing. Uh, and then Seth Rollins is like a fuming and Punk is happy. He says thank you to the people, and Roman's like, no, you need to thank me. You need to thank me. I did this. He said, and he thanks the tribal chief, the big dog. He references the big dog, and Roman doesn't like that at all. Roman does not like that at all. He says, thank you, but that's not the favor he's owed. And man, the look on Roman Reigns' face. What the hell is this favor? I have to step away real quick, but Brandon, tell the people what you think this favor is.
I mean, personally, I still think the favor has something to do with, Paul Heyman choosing CM Punk over Roman. Now, they keep dangling this favor in front of us. Obviously, they had, something in mind at Survivor Series when this was first laid out. Did they know they were going to have this triple threat match at WrestleMania? Probably. And so maybe this favor is, I mean, as much as I would hate a screwy finish, maybe this does lead to CM Punk turning heel with Paul Heyman. I mean, Yeah, I just don't know what the favor could be because like you would think the favor would be, a title match, but Roman doesn't have the title currently. Would it be him like jumping in front of Roman for a title match because Roman still kind of is owed that title shot from, WrestleMania, the long ass title reign he had? I don't know. Um, going to the segment itself again, I did feel as though Seth Rollins, I talked about how I thought he was, good at the beginning of the segment, but then once Punk came in and they did the whole, oh, you're going to main event WrestleMania, I did think that like Seth Rollins did kind of like over, oversell it of like his dissatisfaction with Punk being in the WrestleMania main event. He was like, oh, this is, being a WrestleMania main eventer is the most important thing to me. And I'm like, is it? It seemed very shallow. Like, even if you're talking about like professionally, like let alone his wife and his kid, being a WrestleMania main eventer is, more important than, being the champion, being the top guy in the company. Because if you're the top guy, the champion of the company, that leads you to being a WrestleMania main eventer. So I just thought, Seth, going so over the top in his reaction to Punk being a main eventer was a little much. And the night one, night two thing, I still view night two as the true main event of WrestleMania because in this era of two nights, now we have inflation of main events. Now there's double the amount of WrestleMania main events than there were, when did this start? 7 years ago in 2019. So, or 6 years ago in 2019. So now you kind of got to take that with a grain of salt when main event night one. Um, I do think CM Punk probably, if you were to ask him the truth, he's probably like excited that he's main evented WrestleMania night one, but I think deep down inside he knows like that's not the real main event. The real main event is night two, and going back, I'm just kind of all over the place on this segment. The favor, I do wonder, what exactly this will pay off. I think it
So
might pay off just in the. I was saying that maybe it pays off in the match, and that could be like Punk, or
yeah, I
Heyman siding with Punk over Paul. And does this also lead to a Punk heel turn?
I don't think Punk's gonna turn heel anytime soon. I mean, I think you get more out of Paul staying with Roman than going to Punk. Um, Maybe the favor is whenever I have a title match that I acquire your services for that night. And look, we just had this discussion, man. I know you think night two is the true main event. Look, we get two main events of WrestleMania.
I definitely didn't have that conversation with myself while you were gone.
Yeah, yeah, no, I heard you. I heard you.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, just the. I mean, does Heyman know what the true favor is, and like didn't cue in the tribal chief?
Well, I mean, that's another aspect that will probably flesh out in like the couple weeks. Once again, I don't know the schedule in terms of who's advertised for what shows at this point, but I mean, I think you have to flesh out the fact of like, okay, Roman clearly thought that was the favor. So what does he think the favor is, or how does he react to not being completely in the know with Paul Heyman? So, yeah. And I mean, Paul acts completely different towards Roman Reigns than he does with CM Punk, which is what makes that dynamic fun. He's much more subservient to Roman, while he's more of an equal to CM Punk.
Well, yeah, Punk's his boy. They're homies. Wise man works for Roman Reigns is different.
Yeah. So, do you think the favor? So you don't think the favor pays off at WrestleMania? Because how much longer are they going to have this dangling over us?
Hey, man, long term storytelling, man. Stuff plays out over the course of years over here. I mean, Drew got screwed in what 2022, and then he started acting like a real menace in 2024. So,
I mean, these Rock storylines, they don't even get played out before WrestleMania. So we're still waiting for the Cena Rock thing to play out. Will it ever?
we
Will it
got
ever
some. No, we
happen?
got some leeway with that on Monday. We got some or a lead into that. We'll get there in a second.
Punk, Seth, and Roman put pen to paper and made their WrestleMania triple threat official. They are main eventing night one, I believe, and it is Punk's very first WrestleMania main event, much to the detriment of Seth Rollins, who believes that the main event of Mania is sacred and does not need to be tainted by the name of CM Punk. And it turns out that the main event was not the favor Punk requested from Paul Heyman, which kind of throws a wrench into my theories, because I was on team the favor was the main event. But if you really think about it, so many stories here. So many stories here. You got the unresolved issues between Seth and Roman when Seth hit him with the chair, betrayed them. They haven't really addressed that, and I assume that Seth was trying to put that to an end at Mania. You got Seth, again, who just hasn't been happy that CM Punk has come back. He does not want CM Punk tainting the WrestleMania main events. But again, like I said, it is his first, and he has been fighting for his WrestleMania main event and proving that he's more than earned a WrestleMania main event since he's been back. And then you just got the Punk Roman history from War Games, and then the three of them when Punk brought the Shield to WWE initially. So there's so much history between these three guys, and I think that a triple threat is the way to go, even though it is not the triple threats that truly needs to be addressed, promotions permitting. But I don't know, I really enjoyed the contract signing. I genuinely think that Punk found out he was main eventing in real time. Like, I don't think anybody told him until he looked at the contract, because those tears did not look scripted. I also enjoyed the, like, right before Punk came out, when Seth and Roman had their moment talking about their unfinished business and needing to write another chapter. I was not here for the majority of the Shield's run. I was not watching WWE at that time, but I am also a huge fan of tying up loose ends regardless, so I'm sure at some point we will eventually get that Seth and Roman one-on-one, but Punk removed, thinking about the main event that is Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins, that is something that can move mountains. I would eventually like to see that someday. But I think that it was all great work from all three. And then even the small bit where Roman had asked Punk to acknowledge your tribal chief, and Punk just was being Punk and sarcastically was like, thank you so much for this, that, and the third. But the main event is not the favor. That drops a little bit more intrigue. So, I personally think that the favor might be a Paul Heyman betrayal. Remains to be seen. But you got two Paul Heyman guys, and Paul Heyman in the middle. Yeah.
Strowman and LA Knight are wrestling for the United States Championship. Fatu, Big O's comes out there, breaks them down. And then, Solo and Tom are like, hey, bro, what are you doing? And Solo's like, hey, don't ever talk to us like that again. And Jacob's like, hey, you don't talk to me like that. I'm bringing that title home to the family. So you can either do this with me or without me. Yada I mean? Thoughts on that?
I'm not a big fan of advertising a title match and then just randomly someone comes in and attacks everybody and DQ, and then on top of that he gets his music played out like he's getting rewarded for the interference. Clearly, some sort of breakup between Fatu and Solo. Is it going to happen at Mania? Is it going to be a match at Mania? I don't know. I think there's still probably, clearly looks like we're probably going to get, shocker, another multi-person match for the United States Championship. So WrestleMania 41 is just WrestleMania 2000, I guess, at this point. But yeah, it was.
I'll check out the WWE Vault. They got some backstage footage from WrestleMania 2000. Just upload.
There's Ice-T in there because Pimpin' and Easy Mane.
I think he is. Yeah.
There you go. Even though you can't, I don't think if you go to the network and watch it, you can't see it because it's copyrighted.
The network that doesn't exist anymore.
Sorry, the cock.
Oh, okay, Jesus Christ.
Well, you're the one that
Yeah, Randy Orton out there. Cody Rhodes talks about you've done a great job, blah blah blah, and I'm coming for number 15. So All that time Randy was looking at that title, he's finally said, "Hey, when it's time, I'm coming for you." Then it leads to Drew versus Randy Orton. Drew gets the win over Randall Keith, and then KO comes out there, and Randy almost kicks KO's head off.
Yeah, the segment with Randy and Cody was interesting. Like I said, I wonder if this was like a response to like all the stuff of that Cena's been saying about and The Rock and all that other stuff about how they're the reason why they're the big stars when in actuality it's the current iteration of stars is the reason why WWE is bigger than it's almost pretty much ever been. So and Randy's the type of guy who doesn't care about backstage heat or anything from Rock or Cena, so he'll just say whatever the hell he wants to say. Um, but yeah, and the match itself, distraction finish. Drew gets the win, so he gets a little bit of momentum out of it, if there is any momentum in that, and continuing the build of Drew or Randy and Kevin Owens.
What do you mean? He beat Randall Orton, he beat Randall Keith. It was great.
Yep,
Gets it.
push him to the moon.
If you were to build a sports entertainer from the ground up, you look just like Randy Orton. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
I mean, come on, man. I gotta watch the product. Then Priest chokeslams Drew McIntyre on a windshield, real glass, Crimea River, huh?
Yeah, another plausible deniability reference to AEW there, and especially with CM Punk walking right by Drew McIntyre. So it has a WWE thing to it of the history they have, but then also it's a if you know situation. And T's and piece of Drew, he tweeted out on X on Twitter that it was real glass, and unfortunately he got some glass in his eyes, so he might be out. He might miss WrestleMania now.
Well, he has an eye patch, so you never know.
Mm-hmm.
Out here looking like the infamous Tongaloa. Right. When's Tongaloa coming back? I miss my guy.
Let's see. He got hurt at Survivor Series, so it's been 6 months now at this point.
I saw like the list. I think what Ilya's scheduled to come back August, September, Oscar like June.
I think Ilya, I think he was at the Performance Center. I think he's like not soon, but I'm pretty sure it'll be before June.
Ilya versus Penta. I'm gonna need that. Big Jim defeats The Miz ahead of his match with Gunther on Monday Night Raw.
Yeah, just giving Jimmy a win before he ultimately, faces off against Gunther on Raw. And
yeah, well, we're gonna get there. Naomi's promo: proceed with caution.
Yeah, it was interesting. I mean, very highly produced, and all the different cuts and stuff. I don't know. I like the subject of what she was talking about, but I thought the whatchamacallit, the videography, the cinematography was a little too much for me. Kind of steered into that those Roman, like the Roman Cody in the stadium vignette.
I love that.
But
cinema, man, that's what we're here to do. Cinema.
I'd like it more to be a believable, sports centric vibe than cinema.
It was sports centric. It was in the Georgia Dome? Isn't that where they were? The bowl or whatever?
They're pretty sure they're at Georgia Tech, the alma mater of Roman Reigns, or Joe Anawahi, legendary Georgia Tech defensive lineman.
Exactly, literally sports centric.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. We're getting a WWE Immortal moment. This is a new addition to the WWE Hall of Fame. Stone Cold Steve Austin, Bret the Hitman Hart submission match, 1997 WrestleMania 13, immortalized. Bret Hart, technically 3-time Hall of Famer now.
Yeah, congrats to him. This isn't like super shocking that they're starting to induct moments, not matches. They call them moments, so I think this just kind of opens it up to being anything that's happened in WWE in the last 50, 60 years. And if you are a UFC fan like I am, they have their UFC Hall of Fame, and they have inducted matches, or sorry, bouts or fights, whatever the hell the proper term is, into their Hall of Fame. So when I heard that, it wasn't like, oh my God, what are they doing? It's like, oh, okay, that makes sense. TKO has already done this with the UFC, so now they're going to do it with UFC, with WWE, and with their, number of, lack of, true stars that they have left to induct. Let's induct some people for the second or third time, so we can get Stone Cold and Bret Hart back. So it makes sense all the way around.
Bro, Austin's about to have like hella rings, bro.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if we get like, the beer truck, get Tyson and Austin get inducted and all the other stuff. Maybe not the beer truck because that's a little more Vince McMahon centric, but definitely Tyson and Austin.
Oh no, let's talk about Vince because he was mentioned on Monday Night Raw. let's congratulations to Austin and the Hitman once again. Monday Night Raw happens. John Cena's out there. He's ready to start talking, and then the American Nightmare comes out there. And Cody took a little extra time with this entrance. I noticed. And Cody's like, "Well, you're gonna. This is the part where you go for them, right? You cut them down. I have a lisp. I have a neck tattoo. Blah blah blah. What do you want to talk about? Cena comes back at him, and then just before we get into like the real hits of the promo, what was your overall thought of the dynamic? I mean, this is kind of finally what we've been waiting for.
Yeah, I mean, I talked about it last week where I wasn't the biggest fan of the Cena promo because it was just more of the same from week one. And there was the two big questions, and they answered one of them. They alluded to the other one, which is The Rock. And I have no idea if that question's going to be answered before WrestleMania. But yeah, I did like the dynamic between the two. They did the old B Rabbit thing with Cody where he just, pointed out all of his flaws so so Cena can do it himself. So uh, yeah, and this is kind of a staple of the John Cena shoot promo that they kind of do back and forth. So, and I thought Cody held his own against him.
Yeah, I mean, Cena, he hit him with the "I make money for billionaires. All you did was steal money from their kids." I was like, Cena says he doesn't bury talent. He is talent. He buries mediocrity. I saw Wade Barrett tweeted out something, and he obviously referencing the night Cena went up on the Nexus. Um, Cody said at least they never chanted "You can't wrestle at me." I was like, oh man. And then Cena said, "I'm going to bury you like I've buried everyone else." Just a lot of hits in this, man. And Cody's talking about how they chose me. These people chose me. The person that chose you doesn't work here, and we don't talk about him. That's the Vince reference. So, Cody talked about how he created a company that he got booed in. Just a lot of hits in this one.
Yeah, going back to the they chose me part, the London crowd was kind of like really behind Cena. And I mean, there's a lot of Cena merch in the crowd, and they were like cheering Cena when he, got his digs off of Cody. And then Cody started talking, and there was some booze in there. I was like, uh-oh, this isn't going to be good. But like credit to Cody, he did get them back, and with his digs at Cena, and he was able to kind of win the crowd back over. And I
I
don't know
mean,
if that's just fickle, London crowd trying to be smart and get themselves over, but like that could have been something for Cody, and he was able to navigate it and get the crowd back on his side.
Cena's saying you're not real. You come out here, you're a carbon copy of what you think it's supposed to be. Uh, he says he doesn't want somebody mediocre to hold something excellent. Obviously, talking about the WWE Championship. They made the reference to when Cody used to drive Cena around for a number of years. And Cena, he said like you're polished. This isn't real. Obviously, kind of going up against like people have talked about Cody having a politician vibe about him. So they touched on that a little bit, and then the big thing which people have been waiting for. The Rock was mentioned here, so we got there. Ooh, a little bit. Cody, said you sold out to The Rock. It's like, okay, here we go. So we'll see.
Yeah, and like I said, the Cena finally answered the why Cody aspect of things, and it finally felt like a match between the two. It wasn't just Cena going after the crowd, which is what his first two promos were. And so this one finally kind of gave us that umph of like, okay, I want to see these two guys face each other because there's an actual, you know, tension and there's a reason they're fighting against each other besides the title, obviously. So yeah, overall I thought it was a really good segment. They tiptoed like into almost too meta, but they had enough lines where it was like if you don't know anything about AEW or if you just strictly watch WWE and don't go on social media, then you pretty much got everything. So I thought they towed that line nicely, and they alluded to The Rock. I don't know, at this point I just assume he's not going to show up until he does show up. And I hope that they do some sort of like sit down interview with Cena, since allegedly he's not going to be there the next 2 weeks unless he's going to make a surprise appearance in the Raw before, to where like he does like a sit down interview with Michael Cole or something, and we can get like some sort of content out of Cena when he's quote unquote not there.
That is true. We may get a surprise Cena run-in, I would like to think.
Because what next week they're in Minnesota, and then they're in Sacramento, right?
Yeah.
For Raw's in Sacramento. So
Yeah.
I mean, maybe they can show up to Sacramento. I'm not just saying that because it's close by, but it's like, it's on the West Coast. It's close to Las Vegas. Who knows what their schedules are going to be like the week before WrestleMania? Like maybe they can make something work. I don't know.
Yeah, he called him a nepo baby. I was like, okay. That was one of the other big lines.
And it's a line where it's like, yeah, there's a little bit of truth to it, but Cody has so far surpassed what he was in like 2009 or whatever he like first started wrestling to
Yeah.
where he's clearly not a nepo baby. He's in the Randy Orton tier, the, name other, kids of wrestlers who Charlotte Flairs and others like that, where it's like, yeah, they're not, Eric Watts or Ted DiBiase Jr. or David Sammartino.
Yeah. 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 David Sammartino was a hell of a reference. Jesus Christ. Yeah, man. I mean, it was just a lot. It
I
was
know ball.
hey, you know ball,
Yep.
Lamelo.
Am I swerving that corner? Whoa.
I'm swerving the corner. Whoa. He had another. He put out another one with Glorilla. Have you heard that one?
Baby, please shake that ass for me.
Brother, what?
She, yep.
He actually said that. Hey, how do you feel about this Mutt song, man? We're gonna get some pop culture real
Oh
quick.
my God.
Hey, yo,
I
Leon.
only hear that song in the back of the Nike store, and I hear that song so much. And
That song is it. Like, that boy Leon Thomas came a long way from Victorious.
I get it, it's a
I'm a
catchy song,
dog, I'm a mutt.
but I mean, I think
Hey,
it's one of those songs where it's like I've heard it so much that I just don't like it.
dog, I'm a mutt. Hey, the Chris Brown remix on that thing, man. I'm like, okay, hello. Chris Brown got a tour coming up. That boy might hop on that thing, man. Oh man. Mm. A lot happened with this. A lot happened with this promo. It was very, very good. I need one more of these. I love the back and forths. You know how I am. I love the back and forths. I love the work shoot aspects of the promos. Yeah. Well, I think what was the other thing? You had to leave. I never did because nobody's ever been able to take the mantle. The usual John Cena line, usual shtick.
John Cena and Cody Rhodes had a back and forth on the mic this past Monday, and I have to share my thoughts on heel Cena for my opinion on the promo itself to make sense, because as we all know, fully behind heel Cena. I think it's a great idea that they decided to turn John Cena heel in his last year, because what better time to do it than the end? Because he hasn't been heel in over 20 years, right? It's just hard to distinguish the heel from the face. Granted, the boos have gotten louder. The boos for Cena have gotten louder, and it's a little easy to distinguish there. But John Cena has built himself up as such a personality that he's going to get cheered simply because he's John Cena. Doesn't matter if he's heel, doesn't matter if he's face, and I think that is his detriment as a heel right now. And that's why I think Cody has been the strongest in all of their back and forths since Elimination Chamber, because the whole point of heel Cena is to not give you anything new. I get it, 100%. But it's not working when it's so obvious that Cena isn't going to get number 17. Unless they decide to swerve us, because on this road to WrestleMania, WWE has swerved us a couple times. But in the way that they're setting things up, I don't think that Cena's going to get that 17. And he didn't convince me that he was going to get 17 in this past back and forth with Cody. Cody came out stronger, at least to me, on the back and forth, because there's this level of confidence that he's developed since WrestleMania 40 last year. It's 41 or 40. The Roman numerals trip me up. WrestleMania Philly, he's had a level of confidence, an air of confidence that has evolved since then. He's crashing out a bit for a minute, but he bounced back. He came back. But I just think that there's an air of confidence around him going into these promos, going into this Mania that he didn't have the last two, which is why he's coming off a lot stronger against Cena. Because even in this last promo, he was just like, yeah, you can say whatever you want about me. I still think you're cool, but you're also at the same time a piece of shit. And there's, as long as I've been back, nobody has said that I can't wrestle. And all that's like, he held his own. He did not back down. He did not let Cena make him look like a little bitch, for lack of a better phrase. And, you know, it's just the typical veteran kind of curving from Cena, like, you were my errand boy, you did this for me, you did that for me, you don't deserve to hold that title because you are beneath me, and I'm gonna get number 17. Classic heel tactics, which, you know, glad to see Cena has not lost the recipes, unlike the majority of the IWC. But glad to see Cena has not lost the recipes with the heel tactics and whatnot. But I don't know, it just, from Monday night, it was a little bit more believable that Cody was going to go into WrestleMania and come out with the belt still. Cena didn't really do anything to convince me that he was going to win number 17.
Yeah. Yeah. Moving on from that, Gunther annihilates Jimmy Uso, defeats Jimmy. Jay comes out there to help his brother. Brug gets zip tied to the ropes, and Gunther beats Jimmy down into a bloody mess.
Yeah, it was a strong, strong angle for
This is what they
something
needed.
for on Raw. I mean, like I get it, they're on Netflix now, but still, like they're bleeping out the curse words from the crowd when they chanted Logan Paul. And I was like, okay, they're really doing this. They, bloodied up. And I mean, the visual of Gunther, because like it helped that Gunther, just had the match, was all sweaty. So like just the blood was just all over his body after he was done beating up Jimmy. I thought it was a great visual. And like you said, it did give an extra jolt to this feud of, not only is, Jay doubting himself that he can beat Gunther, but now he also has like the added, retribution that he wants to get on, from his brother. So I think, this feud, kind of hit a low point a week or two ago, but they've definitely kind of re-jolted it and, hit the turbo button on this one.
Absolutely. What other member of the family is about to get attacked? Like that? Jesus. Is that what Gunther's just about to start doing now? He's just about to go after the family?
I guess. Is he gonna lay out the big quiche? I mean, they're in
Man.
Sacramento. Who knows?
Ooh. I don't know. I don't know. Big Keith just got announced for WrestleCon. Go check out the big homie. Shout out Unc. But yeah, man. Um, very well done. Obviously reminds you of '09 when Orton was kissing a unconscious Stephanie while Hunter was handcuffed to the rope. I mean, you kind of get the same vibe. I mean,
One
just
one underrated aspect is I really did like how Jay like seemed legitimately trying to get out of those zip ties, because sometimes you see those things and it's like, okay, they're just kind of sitting there and just not really trying, but clearly Jimmy was trying to get out of that thing. So I thought that was a good aspect to it because it made it seem more real.
yeah. I mean, zip ties they're like it's plastic, but they're effective.
Those little grooves.
Those grooves be grooving.
Mm-hmm.
They be swerving in those corners. Whoa. Yeah. Yeah. Strong segment. I can't wait to see what they do. It's April 1st. Happy birthday to Randy Orton. What's thought about that?
Happy birthday.
All right. Rhea and Io double disqualification. Uh, Bianca got slapped. She got missile drop kicked. Called it a double DQ. Eats a riptide, then another riptide. Yeah, we're getting the three-way. We're getting the triple threat, I guess.
Yep. The match itself was like fine. You knew something was gonna happen. And then, apparently once again you put those referee stripes on, which I guess Bianca didn't get the memo that refs don't wear black and white anymore. They wear gray and black now, but that's neither here nor there. And she got kicked in the face and she sold it for like 2-3 minutes like she was a real ref, which I thought was a little eye rolling. But
I mean, she out of nowhere, you know, yeah, she got her noggin knocked a little bit. That's okay.
and then yeah, the DQ, so it sets up Rhea wanting to be in the match, and I mean, Io said last week I think she wants to wrestle both of them, so maybe she's gonna say it again, and Adam Pearce will finally listen to her. But
I
yeah.
want both of you at WrestleMania. Points at the sign, points at both of them, and then boom, points at the sign.
Chills running down my spine right now thinking of that moment.
Trivia: who was the first person to do the WrestleMania sign point?
Chris Benoit.
No, he was not.
Damn.
This person is wrestling at WrestleMania this year. Does that help?
Oh, let's see who's old and wrestling at WrestleMania. John Cena.
Yes. When did the sign point happen? It was a big moment.
2008
Yeah. What?
at the Royal Rumble.
There you go.
I feel like someone was appointed in the between 2004 and 2008.
No, Cena was the first one to do it.
Just another reason John Cena ruined wrestling.
Okay, look.
He was he was doing that whole promo last week about how he is going to ruin wrestling by winning the championship. I was like, brother, you ruined wrestling 15 years ago.
How?
And shout out whatchamacallit, Cody Rhodes for calling out the fact that like Cena might be the real reason why AEW exists in the first place.
Yeah, that was another thing. Like, don't act like you've done a great job here. Don't act like you left the ship better than you found it. I was like, oh. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. We'll get to AEW in a second. Finn Balor pins Penta. The Judgment Day get a win. Finn Balor's first pinfall victory since God knows when.
Yeah, good for Finn. Finally gets a win. Bars. Shocker. Here we go. Stay with me now. I think we're getting a multi-person match for the IC title.
Well, we kind of already knew that, and plus, like the IC titles, it's been the real multi-man match. Let me ask you something.
Except for last year.
Oh yeah, I mean the story was good enough. Let me ask you something, bro. Should Money in the Bank come back to WrestleMania? They uploaded WrestleMania 24, the full thing, on the WWE Vault YouTube channel. I've been watching the whole thing. It's a really good show. Just got through Flair and Sean. But yeah, the Money in the Bank match, man. I mean, should it just come back to WrestleMania?
I think
it's the real get everybody on the show match.
I would say my first inkling was like yes, but then you think about the women's match. Like the women's, if you put in the women's Money in the Bank match without the women who are like involved in the title matches right now, I don't know what you would do with that thing. It's like it'd basically be like the mid card match of like Chelsea Green, Lyra Valkyria in there, and like who else? Because a lot of the bigger name women would be in the title matches.
You can have the legacy name like Natalia go in there. Bailey could go in there. The Man surprise appearance in the Money in the Bank. You never know. I mean, they're yeah. But okay, the men's side. I mean, you see like all these multi-man matches. We can just throw them all in one match.
Bring back the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal.
So nope, Money in the Bank shouldn't be back at WrestleMania. No.
I mean, I could say yes, but like they've done a good job of like building up as a brand to where it can just be itself. It's its own pay per view. It's now become like the fourth biggest show. I think it's surpassed Survivor Series, to be honest.
What? Survivor Series has War Games. Dude, I think War Games is supposed to be in San Diego, bro. What's up?
I don't know what is up.
Or do you want to go to Money in the Bank in LA? I've never seen one live. That's kind of my bucket list, bro. I need to witness a Rumble and a Money in the Bank live and a War Games. That'd be cool. Those are the three.
Been there, done that.
Yeah.
Shout out to NXT War Games.
I've seen the Hell in the Cell. I've been to Mania. I need I need to witness a Rumble and a Money in the Bank.
Mm,
Yeah. What's up, man? We out?
maybe.
Maybe. AJ Styles gets pulverized, so this is another match added to WrestleMania.
A singles match. Look at that.
Yeah, I think they'll do good business.
Yeah, I mean, it should be a really fun match. I was looking like, man, AJ Styles' face is looking pretty old. I know he is old, but it was like, ah, damn.
You think if he
And
cuts his hair and like shaves his beard, he'll look basically like he did in '06?
nah, I think it's like the eyes. Like he has like, yeah, the eyes are looking old. But
Bro,
yeah,
what
it
brother,
was a good pick.
47, 48?
Yeah, I mean, body wise, I wish I could look like that right now at
Bro,
30.
you know what he did before the Rumble? Why he looked so jacked? He said he did a water fast and just like nothing but water for 3 days. Is that the case?
I guess I drink more water.
Bro, like no, like I like Brandon. Here's what we're gonna do. If you can do this in between the time now when we record again, let do a water fast, nothing but water for 3 days, and come back and tell us the results.
All right.
See, weigh yourself, see if you feel less bloated or whatever, or if you feel
I
bloated.
will say I got sick like a month or two ago. I lost like 5 pounds and it was amazing. I should get a stomach virus more often.
That's Jesus Christ. Okay, we're gonna go to Brandon for his talk about AEW.
All right. So we got AEW Dynasty coming up this Sunday. Going over Dynamite real quick, going to go over some stuff that sort of relates to Dynasty, but also kind of stands alone by itself. Opening match was Swerve and Willow defeating the Death Riders, John Moxley and Marina Shafir. It was a fine match. Obviously they, kind of did those spots where the men wrestle the men, women wrestle the women. It was a tornado tag match. So it was a little different dynamic than your typical mixed tag match that you get. We did get a lot of like contrived spots of teasing the men beating up the women or happenstance taking place for some of the moves to take place. So wasn't a big fan of some of that stuff, but told a good story. Swerve and Willow actually got the win when Willow pinned Marina Shafir. And then while they were celebrating, Moxley hit Willow with the Death Rider. So she sold that throughout the show, and Swerve vowed revenge to get his hands on Mox by the end of the show. That did not happen. We did get this was just kind of jumping forward all the way to the end where Swerve was trying to go after Moxley, but Hangman stopped him, and they had this confrontation. And they talked, they just yelled at each other about what they did, burning down the house, breaking into your home. And was it Hangman said that Swerve deserved getting his house burned down, and Swerve said, "I know." So then they kind of like flummoxed Hangman because they didn't expect that reaction from Swerve, and I think that's kind of a something that they need to address because Hangman said that he's not gonna rest until Swerve, or he's not going to rest if Swerve goes after the championship. So I don't know. Hopefully that doesn't this kind of quells that, and that doesn't go into the finish of Moxley and Swerve, which we'll talk about. We'll do a little preview in a second. And then we did a big old beatdown. Death Riders beat down on Swerve. They put him through some broken glass, real glass, Crimea River. So there you go. We did get the Owen Hart brackets announced for both the men and the women. We got on one side Will Ospreay, Kevin Knight, Brody King, and Takeshita. And then the other side, Mark Briscoe, Kyle Fletcher, and Hangman Adam Page, as well as a wild card. Who is that wild card? No idea. Seems as though that Jay White got hurt, so he got replaced by Kevin Knight. It seems, or maybe the wild card is replacing Jay White. So once again, another one of those AEW tournaments where they talk about how prestigious it is, and yet, there are some big names in here. Ospreay, Takeshita, Page, and Fletcher are the standouts, but I mean, no disrespect to Kevin Knight, he was just there, and he might be a last minute replacement. Also, Brody King, Mark Briscoe, and the wild card, which could be a big name, but I don't expect it to be anything crazy. At the end of the day, I would suspect Will Ospreay wins this whole thing. Then on the women's side actually is quite good in terms of like the names that they have. One side is Jamie Hayter, Billy Starks, Thunder Rosa, and Chris Statlander, and the other side is Julia Hart, Mercedes Moné, Harley Cameron, and Athena. which is interesting because they teased heavily Mercedes Moné and Athena, and presumably they'll each win their opening round match, and they will face off in the semifinals. So maybe that leads to Athena beating Mercedes in the tournament. Athena loses the final, and then they have a match at All In Texas. Just a quick little prediction on what I think is going to happen there. Also, had another interaction between MJF and the Hurt Syndicate. MJF, it wasn't anything too crazy. Basically, Bobby Lashley just told MJF to his face that he has to prove himself to the Hurt Syndicate. So, what does that mean? Who knows? Continues to where MJF and MVP get along, but Bobby Lashley is not a fan. And that was pretty much it. We had Tony Storm wrestle a match and some other matches along the way, but for the most part, it was your standard kind of show before the pay-per-view. No Kenny Omega, no hype at all for the international championship match, trios match. They're going to have something on Collision where Ricochet will be on commentary for that. But let's get into the Dynasty preview. Currently, we have 9 matches announced. And it looks as though, according to Wikipedia, these are all on the show proper. I mean, good Lord, that's an AEW pay-per-view there for you. So we got 2 Owen Hart tournament matches, one in the men's, one's in the women's, Mercedes Moné and Julia Hart. Like I said, I would presume that Monet wins, as well as Athena winning, and they meet in the next round. Then we got the men's match, Will Ospreay and Kevin Knight. Should be typical, really good match from Will Ospreay, and he gets the win there. Then we get the tag team title match between the Hurt Syndicate, Bobby Lashley and Shelton Benjamin, taking on the Learning Tree of Big Bill and Brian Keith. They've built it up a little bit with the Big Bill and Brian Keith trying to get some wins under their belt to kind of prove themselves. At the end of the day, I think Hurt Syndicate get the job done. They get the win here, and maybe we lean further into a breakup of Chris Jericho and the Learning Tree guys, because we do have a Chris Jericho match, which is Chris Jericho taking on Bandito, title for Mask for the ROH World Championship. I think Bandito gets the win here. A little weird that we have a ROH title match not on an ROH show, especially since aren't they doing something for WrestleMania weekend? Normally they do one of their bigger shows WrestleMania weekend, but once again, not an ROH guy, so I don't know too much about it. But I think Bandito gets the win here, gets the title, and that kind of leads Chris Jericho further down a deep spiral. He gets angry and turns, quote unquote, against his branches, and they break off from him. We got a TNT championship match. This has no time limit and no outside interference is permitted, even though that should kind of be the same for all matches, that there's no outside interference permitted, but, whatever. Daniel Garcia defending against Adam Cole, baby. This one I think could go either way. Definitely a fall from grace for Adam Cole, just kind of looking at where he lands on this pay-per-view, just kind of a, the typical TV mid-card championship. If you were to tell Tony Khan that's what he was doing with Adam Cole for almost, 3.5 years from signing him, I think he'd be quite disappointed or perplexed on what has happened to Adam Cole. That being said, could go either way here. I will pick Cole to get the win and get the title, just to kind of switch it up and do something different. But I don't really have a stern conviction about that. Then we got the trios title match, the Death Riders, Claudio Castagnoli, Pac, and Wheeler Yuta defending against Rated FTR, Cope, Cash Wheeler, and Dax Harwood. They have been teasing some sort of breakup between Cash and Dax, or at least a heel turn for Dax. Maybe that leads to FTR turning heel in total. Really weird. Their tag team division is not the greatest, and FTR is clearly one of their better, if not the best tag team they have there. And I think individually they're both talented, but I just don't know if singles would be the route to go. So I just don't think breaking them up is smart. I think if you're going to they've kind of turned back and forth so many times already that I don't think that's a smart idea, and people like them to begin with. So I think we do get the Death Riders retaining here, and that kind of further seeds some dissension between the two. but I wouldn't be shocked if at the end of the day they just continue to be together. They turn heel together. Then, shocker, another title match. We got the International Championship three-way match: Kenny Omega, Ricochet, and Speedball Mike Bailey. Should be a really fun match. I mean, all three of these guys can really go. It seems as though Speedball is kind of the designated jobber in this one. And seems pretty obvious that Kenny Omega is going to win this match. Then, women's title match: Timeless Toni Storm taking on Megan Bayne. Storm beat Penelope Ford on Dynamite, and Megan Bayne has been strong. She pinned Toni Storm last week on Dynamite, and this is an interesting booking decision, I would say, for Tony Khan, just because Tony, she just got the title back. She hasn't had a long reign with it. Megan Bayne is the newest signing that they have. She's not like blowing me away by any means, but yet, she's been booked very strong. So it's like, do you have her win here to continue that? Do you have her lose and maybe lose some momentum? Do you do a screwy finish to either keep the title on Tony or to get the title onto Megan? I don't know. So this one should be, and it's also an interesting match to see like what Toni Storm could get out of Megan Bayne, because I think Bayne is a solid wrestler, but there's still some work to be done. She's a little rougher on the edges, I think, still. So should be a interesting aspect. If you're gonna tell me to give a full prediction, I think Toni Storm beats Megan Bayne. Then main event time: John and Moxley and Swerve Strickland. They once again, talk about Dynamite. Didn't really talk about how Prince, Nana, and Swerve Strickland got into an argument backstage. Why, I don't know. So they continue to tease a breakup between Prince, Nana, and Swerve, and I just don't think that's a good idea, honestly. I mean, it's so hard, so rare to have like a solid babyface manager dynamic, and I think Swerve and Nana have that. And Nana is not exactly adding much to the Swerve act because he just kind of does his dance and he talks a little bit, but for the most part, it's just kind of he's like a valet almost. He just is kind of there without like cutting promos for Swerve, because Swerve doesn't need that. But it's a fun dynamic and it's a good dynamic between them two, and I just don't think you want to mess that up by breaking them up. And maybe it's just a red herring. Maybe people fight all the time. Family members fight and get into arguments, and they kiss and make up later. So I hope they keep Swerve and Nana together. And I also hope that Swerve Strickland beats John Moxley to become the new world champion. I've talked about this numerous times. The Death Riders angle has not really grabbed me. I like everyone involved, but just it has not worked at all. The story they're trying to tell, or began to tell, but then kind of backed off a bit. Now it's just kind of Moxley continues to be his, typical heel self, I guess. Yeah, it's more of me not liking Moxley than the Death Riders act than Moxley himself. So I think you just put it on Swerve here, unless there is some sort of angle with Nana and or Hangman, which definitely could be the case. But I think you just start fresh, give the title to Swerve, put the Death Rider storyline in the main event in the rearview mirror, and we can just kind of continue with Swerve, move on down the line, and build towards that Double or Nothing in May, but obviously All In July. So that is it for the AEW preview. Oh, hey, Phillip, you're back. I guess you don't. No, I guess he doesn't want to talk AEW. So I guess we'll just wrap this up.
All Elite Wrestling. Wow. Hey, yo, I saw. So hold on. We talked about sign points earlier. Was it a graphic for like Dynasty or the All In show? I saw Will Ospreay pointing at it. Was that supposed to be or is the internet just taking that out of context?
I mean, I probably out of context, because I'm pretty sure that was the promo he cut like a week or like 2 weeks ago, post whatever Revolution match, where he said that he's entering the Owen. So he just said, "I want to wrestle there at All In Texas." That's pretty much all it was.
Okay. Okay.
Don't believe everything you see on the internet, especially while we're recording this on April Fool's Day.
Man, April Fool's Day it's a time to be alive, brother. Let me tell you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, a lot of wrestling is going on this weekend. Let's Let's get right to it. Are you ready? Are you
Born
ready?
ready.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was about to hit my Zoe 101 theme song singing. Or did you watch Zoe 101? Were you a fan?
I love Zoe 101.
Well, let me hear the theme song, Brandon. Let me hear it.
No, I already sang one song. You get one song from me per show.
All right, next week. That's what I want to hear.
I've told the story before that I had a dream. I had like a consecutive dream streak
You
where
had
I
a
was on
dream.
Zoe 101 and I was like dating the Victoria Justice character. Shout out respectfully. Great time. What a time to be alive.
Brother, what?
Yep. This was like, I was like, what, 12 or 13 at the time? Whenever Zoe 101 came out, it was great.
My guy was my guy was dreaming about being at Pepperdine University.
Yes, sir.
Oh man! All right, Zeit Slam. It is this Thursday. It is going down Zeitgeist, San Francisco, California. Vinny Massaro and Maney going up against Jerry Gigolo and Miko Alana. You got Sean Sims versus Jajul versus Lyda J. Aaron Solo versus Brett the Threat. Beatrice Domino goes up against Titus Alexander. Big Backtivities, Elliot Ray versus Big Meat versus Chima versus Sancho Demira. And of course, a four-way tag, SPS versus Cartel. De Los Villanos versus Pacific Rampage versus Charming and Vice. And then after that, you have on Friday, West Coast Pro is collabing with Big Time Wrestling to present Battle of the Bay. So that's going to be something. That's going to be a lot going on right there. Let's look at this card. Got Jai Jewel versus Brett the Thread Golden Gate Championship match. Too Fresh versus Los Suavecitos. You got Kevin Blackwood, Alan Angels, and Aaron Solo versus Marcus Lewis and the Crush Boys, consisting of Starboy Charlie and Titus Alexander. MVP versus Vinny Massaro. Juicy Finale versus Jerry Gigolo. Sandra Moon and Maya World versus Brooke Havoc and Johnny Robbie. And then Wrestling for Charity is going on Sunday. You went to the last one. Will you be at this one?
Possibly.
Come on. 2 p.m. A lot is going down with the Wrestling for Charity. You'll see Sancho Demira there, Carmelo Romeo, El Comico, Boyce LeGrand, and so many more. Thank you guys so much. As always, be safe and stay dangerous. Yes, sir.
Yeah. It's the microphone Messiah and Mr. No Days Off. Microphone Messiah, Mr. No Days Off. Phil, Brandon, what's good, y'all? Let's go. Bullet Cast host. Look, this is the time for us to be great on podcasts. Let you know this is the time and how the vibe lasts. This is the feeling of time and when we on it. You know we got no time for no opponent, it's the feeling. This is the time of the greats on everything that we say. You know we about getting paid. Every opinion of wrestling. You know we got the truth in it. Every time you know that we on, this is the movement. You know the Bullet Pass podcast been on. You know the time we on, the feeling. This is the time of dealing.